Hello, YouTube, and welcome to Level-Headed News. This is your host, Brenda. I have 7 articles in this episode for you. All the URLs are in the description of the video for your convenience. And I'm waiting to make sure that the audio is working, and it is, so we'll just get started here. The first one is off of conservativetribune.com. It says, report, demands White House investigate and punish Kellyanne Conway. Top Trump administration official Kellyanne Conway engaged in a clear violation of the prohibition against misuse of position when she endorsed Ivanka Trump's products, the government's top ethics officer said in a letter. According to the New York Times, the Office of Government Ethics sent the letter to Trump White House this week. There is strong reason to believe that Ms. Conway has violated the standards of conduct and that disciplinary action is warranted. Conway attracted the interest of ethics investigator after an interview she gave on Fox News last Thursday, in which she addressed the issue of a liberal boycott involving Ivanka Trump's clothing line. Go buy Ivanka. Try this again. Go buy Ivanka's stuff is what I would say, Conway said. I'm going to give a free commercial here. Go buy it, everybody. You can find it online. White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer said she had been counseled about the incident, which seems minor, especially in light of the boycott. And there's some video in this if you want to pull that up to view that for yourself. Continues, it says, I don't have comment on the particular letter that's been sent or any type of investigation, Conway said in a Tuesday night interview with Fox News' Sean Hannity. It's pretty clear that Conway was at least slightly in the wrong here. After all, the Code of Federal Regulations states an employee shall not use his public office for his own private gain, for the endorsement of any product, service, or enterprise, or for the private gain of friends, relatives, or persons with whom the employee is affiliated in a non-governmental capacity, including nonprofit organizations of which the employee is an officer or member, and persons with whom the employee has employment or business relations. However, this incident was also fairly minor. It shouldn't have been a big deal, and simple letter of reprimand would probably suffice. That being said, it's not what the left is going to want. They're going to pounce on this with all their might, demanding that this gets her fired. The hubbub over this is absolutely ridiculous. This is nothing more than setting a trap and lunging upon Conway once she fell into it. She's been counseled. Let's move on. Well, the next one here is off of BizPac Review. And it says federal ethics officials can't investigate or punish Kellyanne Conway. Federal ethics officials need more teeth in order to investigate and punish ethics violators, a nonprofit government watchdog group wrote on Tuesday. The Office of Government Ethics, or the OGE, lacks the authority to investigate complaints of ethics noncompliance and to use binding recommendations for disciplinary action, Project-owned Government Oversight Policy Counsel Liz Hempowitz wrote. Currently, investigations, determinations, and disciplinary actions are preliminarily left to employee agency and non-criminal cases, she continued. For there to be true accountability, ethics investigations and enforcement should be conducted by an entity other than the agencies involved in the alleged violations. In a recent example, OGE wrote that there is a strong reason to believe White House Special Counsel Kellyanne Conway has violated the standards and conduct that the disciplinary action is warranted. But OGE is barred from investigating and punishing Conway for using her position to promote Ivanka Trump's clothing line last week. This means that when White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer says Conway has been counseled, that's all. That is the end of the matter, Hempowitz wrote. Additionally, OGE sent another letter Tuesday to Utah Republican Representative Jason Chavez and Maryland Democrat Representative, the House Committee and Oversight Government Reform Chairman and Ranking Member, respectively, who requested the ethics watchdog investigate Conway. OGE's letter essentially said it would investigate and discipline the senior counsel if it had the authority to do so. Unlike employing federal agencies. OGE cannot take disciplinary action against an executive branch employee other than OGE employee Walter M. Schaub Jr. wrote. Thus, OGE is limited with respect to the actions it can take. Hempowitz noted that the OGE director can instruct an employee to cease an ongoing violation and offer recommendations on how to do so. However, in the case of a one-time violation where the damage is already done, the director is essentially powerless to hold the employee accountable for the wrongdoing, which is where disciplinary action, such as a suspension or demotion, should come into the picture, Hempowitz continued. From an oversight, President Danielle Bryan also urged Chavez and Cummings Tuesday to expand OGE's authority in response to lawmakers' request for ideas on how Congress can strengthen executive branch ethics. We believe that OGE, to be effective, Congress should expand the law to ensure OGE has clear, independent authority to investigate complaints and to issue binding corrective actions when there is an ethics violation, Bryan wrote. Okay. I mean, to an opinion, I mean, I can understand that, yes, it may have sounded like an endorsement of the product, but she has no financial gain in that. I don't think she is invested in Ivanka's clothing line. So, you know, it's purely opinion of, you know, just ignore all the rhetoric and, go buy the product if you want to buy the product. Democrats are going to make a big deal out of it. The next one's off of BizPack Review. It says, Trump is calling on conservative outlets at pressers and MSM is freaking out that the fix is in. Mainstream media outlets are now deeply concerned that the president is only calling on journalists that are friendly to him. But for 8 years during the previous administration, none of these reporters blinked an eye when President Obama mainly called on media outlets that were friendly to him, probably because they were the friendly media outlets then. And now that they are on the outside looking for it, temper tantrums have begun. Following the president's joint conference or press conference with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, Trump called on conservative news outlets, Town Hall, and the Christian Broadcasting Network. CNN's Jim Acosta flipped his lid. The two questions that were asked or called upon from the president in his news conference went to the Christian Broadcasting Network, which is obviously owned by Pat Robertson, the televangelist down in Virginia, Acosta said. It's a very conservative broadcasting network. 3 news conferences. All the questions to the American news media have been handled by conservative press, and I think describe it, but the fix is in, he said. And there is some video in this if you want to pull it up, take a look at it. And it says right under the was far from the only one to complain. The article continues, it says many took to social media to express their frustration and vent. One of them, he says, I tried. Kyle Griffin says Trump has so far called on Christian Broadcasting Network and Town Hall. He's only called on conservative outlets the last 3 pressers. There's just a whole list of these here. So if you want to pull it up and take a look at it, you can do that. Mocked. One says, but I thought the press was unbiased. How can they say that Trump only calls on conservative news sites? Another one says far left Hillary promoters, fake news media, CNN and MSNBC whining over lack of opportunity to ask. You got a question at Trump's press conference. And there's a whole bunch more of them here if you want to pull it up and take a look at those. The next one that I have, next article, is off of Liberty Writers, and it says, Trump saves the day. Trump just did something spectacular to fix California for good. Because the Oroville Dam is beginning to fail, Governor Jerry Brown is begging for federal assistance. So far, 200,000 people have evacuated the surrounding area around the dam. According to the AP, Governor Jerry Brown sent a letter to Donald Trump Monday. Brown is asking for help with the 3 Northern California counties. And there's some footage of the disaster here if you want to take a look at that. And it continues. It says Brown needs aid sent to assist the 188,000 citizens of Butte, Sutter, and Yuba counties. They were ordered to evacuate on Sunday after concerns about the spillway giving way. There has also been a huge load of water that is threatening to flood towns downstream. Governor Jerry Brown says that California and Washington are working in a constructive way to repair the awful infrastructure in the state. Would you look at that? Trump is going to save California even though their political leadership has done nothing but insult him. I think California is a disgrace for letting this happen. They have let their infrastructure fall into disrepair in order to push the BS leftist laws. I thought they wanted to secede from the Union, but they're asking for federal help. Next one I have is off of BizPack Review, and it says Trump's latest approval ratings, not what Dems expected. Is spin these numbers. President Donald Trump's overall approval rating has climbed above 50% according to the latest Rasmussen poll. Tuesday's daily presidential tracking poll conducted by Rasmussen Reports indicates that Trump's job performance now enjoys a 52% approval rating among likely voters. This approval is heavily split along party lines, with 79% of the Republicans approving and 72% of Democrats disapproving. 51% of those who claim no party affiliation approve what the commander-in-chief has been doing so far, and 49% disapproving. This is welcome news, coming fast on the heels of the president's national security advisor tendering his resignation amid controversy, prompting the House Intelligence Committee's investigation of White House leaks. The poll results, on the other hand, are not so welcoming to Democrats. And there's some tweets here. One says, shock poll on Trump approval has Democrat leaders panicking. Another one says, I wonder why the far left media went quiet on his approval rating all of a sudden. The article says the results of the survey came also as a sigh of relief to the Trump supporters. And the Daily, let's see, one tweet here says at the Daily Caller, and POTUS, he's hard working, or try it again. He is hard at work for the people that elected him. Very proud that he has our backs and we have his. The Rasmussen poll contrasts to Des Moines Register survey indicating that his approval rating is 42% among Iowans. And the Register says 42% of Iowans approve of the job the newly inaugurated Republican is doing as president, while 49% disapprove, according to the latest Des Moines Register Mediacom Iowa poll. And somebody tweets to that, says, yikes, Trump's approval rating down 42% in Iowa, a state he won by nearly 10 points just 3 months ago. So there you have that. The next one I have is off of Liberty Writers. And it says, the Trump team opened can of whoop-ass on George Steophanopoulos. And there's some video in this if you want to view it. The article says, senior advisor to President Trump, Stephen Miller, was having a heated exchange with George Steophanopoulos on Sunday. It was about voter fraud. Steophanopoulos, as usual, was cocky until Stephen Miller shut him the hell up. And they have a video of the exchange. And it says, Stephen Miller says, I've actually, having worked before on a campaign in New Hampshire, and I can tell you, this issue of busing voters into New Hampshire is widely known by anyone who has worked in New Hampshire politics. It's very real. It's very serious. Voter fraud is a serious problem in this country. You have millions of people who are registered in 2 states. People who are dead are registered to vote. 14% of non-citizens, according to academic research, at the minimum, are registered to vote, which is an astounding statistic. There's more video in it. So there you have that. And the final article I have here is off of Sean Hannity. And it says, cleared. FBI says nothing wrong with General Flynn's communication with the Russian ambassador. Federal Bureau of Investigation has cleared retired Lieutenant General Michael Flynn of any wrongdoing in the communication between Flynn and the Russian ambassador to the U.S., Sergei Kislyak, according to a report in the Washington Post. It noted on Sunday that Flynn's communication were under investigation by the U.S. counterintelligence agents. The Washington Post reports the FBI late in December reviewed intercepts of communication between the Russian ambassador to the United States and retired Lieutenant General Michael T. Flynn, National Security Advisor to then-President-elect Trump, but has not found any evidence of wrongdoing or illicit ties to the Russian government, U.S. officials said. Picked up as part of the routine electronic surveillance of Russian officials and agents in the United States, which is one of the FBI's responsibilities, according to the U.S. officials who spoke on the condition of anonymity to discuss counterintelligence operations. The news is yet another blow. Try this again. The news is yet another blow to mainstream media narrative of an relationship between the Trump administration and Russia. In this episode, if you like what I'm doing, give it a thumbs up, share it on your social media so everybody gets to hear the news, and don't forget to subscribe. That way you'll stay informed.